Well, first of all, I think it's important to highlight that I believe in the West, we often complicate things. So let's say you're looking for an employee, you have a problem, you want to satisfy that problem. We often add a lot of tech into the mix, which can make it easier or more complicated. So automatic tracking systems, ATS, that sort out applications. Let's say you get 200 applications, and if an application doesn't have a 50% match in keywords, it's automatically discarded.
Hmm.
So essentially, for immigrants who don't understand that concept, they just send out one really good resume for to 20 employers, and they just don't know that with the ATS system, they're just being thrown out those applications because there is not enough match. So customizing resumes, that's one of the things that they don't come across in their countries. It's not to say that the hiring process is different, it's just that there's more tech involved,
Oh, I see.
and
Okay.
that complicates things. So we use tech to simplify the complicated tech.
And you're probably helping them, say, do up a specific resume for a specific job,
Oh
because
yeah.
the tech would probably recognize that you can't just send out a blanket piece to everyone, because people might recognize that as such, especially if you were applying for a job that, say, if I'm going to fumble this wording a little bit, but a job of caliber, say say you were a lawyer in some other country, and then here you don't. This country would consider that you don't have the qualifications to be a lawyer. You might have to take the bar again. Well, you have some work to do there. I'm just saying is that all of a sudden you're applying for jobs, but you're also applying to get up to speed with whatever requirements that this place would have. Do you get a lot of that? Do you get a lot of people who have a lot of skill, who are really specialized, but they have trouble getting into that thing they used to do somewhere else? But now here they're having there are hurdles. There are hurdles to jump.
Absolutely. And there's two sides of this coin. One is, as you said, like high caliber, something like a lawyer, doctor, which is highly regulated.
Mhm.
Another side of this is high caliber, but not regulated. So, for example, they were, I don't know, running marketing for a big company in their home country. And now they can't get that job in Canada because they don't understand the power of networking, the power of personal brand. And when people move, when people immigrate, they often come with this a preconceived notion that in the West, everything is very different. It's very not about who you know, but about what you know. However, people who think that are often quite delusional. And they see, when you're born in a country, you grew up there, as you're growing there, you are naturally networking, you're connecting with your classmates, you go to school, you connect with professors, with instructors. So by just simply being born in a place and growing up there, you have this network already established. So it becomes easier to get a job because people trust you. They have known you for so long. Versus if you're an immigrant, you're new, you need to establish that trust before you can go any further and look for high caliber jobs.
And like I say, that's something I wouldn't understand, because I can't. Because, okay, I'm living in the place where I was born. I
Mhm.
was born in Atlantic Canada, and my family is Atlantic Canadian, and then people would know my name would be familiar to them, and so just those things alone that's my foot in the door. And so, like I say, but I myself, I'm bigger on merit than who you know and where you came from. I'm on what my big thing, like I say, and this is something for entrepreneurs, artists, stuff like that. It's very based on merit. Can you do the work? Are you better at doing the work and getting the result than the other person? To me, as an entrepreneurial mind, and I'm sure you have this too, is that there's nothing more important for my business, for my enterprise, for my organization, than hiring people who are good at it. And so my question for you is that, tell me about the talent. Tell me about what is the potential for employers, for people who have a spot to give somebody a chance to do good work for them that's going to benefit them. What's the potential of people coming in from other places and becoming new Canadians? What is the potential there for employers?
Really high potential, and also from an employer standpoint, usually by giving an immigrant a chance, you not only fulfill your labor gap, but you also lower your costs because many of them are ready to start at a lower pay and eventually get to a higher salary. That's one. But two, you talked about merit. Yes, most people want to hire on merit. It's very rare that somebody intentionally hires by connections because nepotism doesn't lead to great results. You simply hire someone who's not qualified. So most people, most employers, most companies want to hire on merit, but subconsciously, when you're looking to fill a role, if you miss, if you hire someone wrong, you've wasted a lot of money because you've trained them, you've spent time, you can't get back that time, you can't get the money back. So that's where subconsciously they start thinking, all right, let me hire someone I can trust. How do I do that? By getting references. So let me talk to my friends who can reference someone, who can recommend me an employee or help me hire someone. So their intention isn't that vicious. Oh, I'm gonna hire only based on people I know. They're just trying to help their business grow by not wasting money on training someone who's not capable. That's where that connection comes in, and that's where I feel networking is a tool that will unlock a lot of opportunities for you.
Okay, so follow up on that. What would you say would be what would be good advice for someone who is asking, how do I just arrived here. I did some study and I've done some paperwork. What do I do? What do I do now to get to build that network? What's my first step?
Many people fail when they think that the first step to networking is to show up to a networking event. I think it's how you program yourself to failure because you have not established something yet, or you don't have something you're known for, and then you start putting yourself out there. The brand you're building now is not something positive, it's something needy, right? That's the last thing you want to come across as, somebody needy. Um, it's different though if in your home country you've already established something great and you can come to that event with, let's say, a portfolio of employment, businesses, achievements, whatever. But for most people who don't have that, I would start off by becoming specialized in something, by building a name in something. It could be something as simple as volunteering, even for an organization, just getting your foot in the door that way. And then eventually that's something you can bring up, that's something unique to you. Let's say I'm passionate about helping stray cats. I don't know, whatever you want to volunteer in. Maybe it's an orphanage, right? Um, Once you've done that, you can go out there. That's the second step, into the world, into a networking event, a conference. And when you start a conversation, you will no longer come across as someone empty and needy, but someone who can add. And that goes back to my first thing, win-win. How can you establish a win-win? That's the core to networking.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like the advice could be whittled down to the phrase, go and make yourself useful and be kind about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like people, that if you're making yourself useful, it means you're getting in there. You want to do something meaningful. Volunteering is a great way to do that. It's a good way to introduce yourself to the community. I can totally see that. Another thing too is that if you go volunteer, you're going to run into not only people that you're helping, you're also going to run into other volunteers, like-minded people who are making themselves useful, who are kind and stuff. All kinds of people taking. That's how you make friends, I suppose. I like that advice.